Everyone knows the name. Jeffrey Epstein. But here's the part people don't talk about. Not what he did, not who he knew, but how many things around him stop making sense the moment you look closer. Because one strange detail, that's normal. Two, still possible. But when it becomes a pattern, you stop asking what happened, and you start asking, how does something like this even exist? The money that doesn't have a clear origin, Epstein was treated like a billionaire. Private jets, mansions, a private island. But when you try to trace it back, step by step, there isn't a clean, obvious path. No globally recognized company, no clear business empire built in public. What exists instead are fragments, claims about managing wealth, connections to powerful clients, but nothing that fully explains the scale. And that creates the first gap. Not that he had money, but how he got that much. The jump that doesn't look natural. He didn't start in elite finance. He started as a teacher. And then, suddenly, he's inside high-level financial circles. Not gradually, not step by step, but fast enough that it feels accelerated. In most cases, careers like that leave a trail. Here, the trail exists, but it's unusually thin for the level he reached. Which leads to one question: who helped him move that fast? Access to people most never reach. Photos and reports link him to people like Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Now, that doesn't prove anything by itself, but access at that level is rare. Most people never even get close to those circles. Yet Epstein wasn't just near them. He was part of the environment, which creates a disconnect. His public profile and the level of people around him. A lifestyle that doesn't match the explanation. Multiple properties, a private island, a jet used regularly. This isn't just wealth. This is scale, infrastructure, access to systems that most wealthy people don't even reach. And again, it circles back to the same gap. The lifestyle is clear. The explanation behind it isn't. The contact book, a black book filled with names, politicians, business figures, public figures. Some later said they barely knew him. Some distanced themselves completely. But the pattern remains. One person, connected to an unusually wide and powerful network. Not one circle, many. And that kind of reach is rare, even among wealthy people. The flight logs records of private flights, repeated names, certain individuals appearing more than once. Again, not proof of anything by itself, but patterns aren't built on one moment. They're built on repetition. And when the same names appear again and again, it stops feeling random. The 2008 deal, serious allegations. But the outcome? A deal many considered unusually lenient, limited jail time, conditions that didn't match the severity people expected. And this is where the system itself becomes part of the story. Because the question isn't just what happened, it's why was it handled this way? A case that didn't expand. Cases like this usually grow. More investigation, more exposure, more charges. Here, it narrowed. It closed faster than many expected, and instead of expanding outward, it contained itself, which is unusual for something of this scale. Returning to normal life. After everything, he wasn't removed from elite circles. He continued operating, still present, still connected. which creates tension between two realities: what was publicly known and how little it seemed to affect his position. The 2019 arrest years later, the case comes back. New charges, new attention. A second moment where everything could be fully examined. But by this point, it wasn't just a legal case anymore. It had become global, and expectations were completely different. High-risk custody. In jail, he was considered high risk, placed under additional observation, which means one thing: the system understood how sensitive the situation was. It wasn't treated as ordinary, at least not at first. Then that observation stopped. At some point, that extra monitoring was removed, a decision that might be procedural on paper, but in context, it becomes another piece of the pattern, because timing matters. And this happened before everything ended. The camera's reports indicated problems with surveillance cameras, missing or unusable footage, gaps in a place where clarity should exist. One failure is explainable, but when failures align with critical moments, they stand out. The guard's scheduled checks didn't happen as required. Records were later found to be inaccurate, and those responsible admitted to failures. Again, possible, but combined with everything else, it becomes part of a larger pattern of things not working when they were supposed to. The ending: 2019, a prison cell. The official conclusion: suicide. But surrounding that moment, multiple safeguards failed. Multiple systems didn't function. Multiple decisions lined up in a way that raised questions. And that's where the story stops. Not with clarity, but with uncertainty. You don't need a theory. You don't need to assume anything. Because the real question isn't, what's the explanation? It's this: how many separate things have to not make sense before it stops feeling like coincidence? Because any one of these points can be explained on its own, but together, they form something else. Not proof, not a conclusion, just a pattern. And sometimes, a pattern is enough to make people stop trusting what they're seeing, even if they can't prove why.